Today, I am going to talk about 5 things I love and 5 things I hate about current WWE. And I don't want to waste any time. I want to jump right into this. I'll start with the stuff I hate first, try and get the negative stuff out of the way, and then we can kind of finish on a positive note. So let's just jump right into the stuff I don't like about current WWE. The number one thing is all of the advertising, all of the advertisements. And I think this took a new low at SummerSlam when they involved the mug root beer guy during Chad Gable's victory celebration. Chad Gable, been with the company for 10 years, wins his first singles championship in his hometown. He's celebrating with his mom, his dad, his wife, his kids. It's this real special moment for him. And then they inject this mug root beer guy into this segment. It almost felt like a rib on Chad Gable because they could have stuck this mug root beer advertisement in anywhere in the show. And in one of the more moments that felt like a special moment, they did it there. And Chad Gable is just gonna have to have a mug root beer guy in all of his pictures that he has of this moment of his career, which was a real special moment for him. And I thought that was real low, especially since outside of WWE in AAA, Chad Gable has created one of the more special moments for WWE in recent memory with his mask versus mask with El Grande Americano. So this was a real special moment for him, and they injected this mug root beer guy into it, and I absolutely hated this. It honestly felt like the mug root beer guy was gonna take off his mug or his dog head and attack him in front of his family, in front of his hometown. That would have been better, but they had to get their mug root beer money, so they did it here. Not a fan of that. And the other stuff I don't like is Slim Jim tables. They've been doing Slim Jim tables forever, and it's just laughable every single time they pull it out. Brock Lesnar and Oba Femi are having a Hell in a Cell match between two beasts, and we have to pull out Slim Jim tables. They also pulled out a Wingstop chair. I think that's the first time they've done it. It's the first time I noticed it. But the Slim Jim's table have been going on forever. They do fireball ladders. Like, when is enough enough? I get that they are a publicly traded company and they're have to please their shareholders and get all the money possible. But when is enough enough? And that's just the in-ring stuff. They also have all of the advertisements on the mat, which is after the fact. A lot of people have said that Vince considered the mat, I don't want to say sacred because that's what Gunther calls it, but Vince didn't want any advertisements on mats, and I'm sure he was offered it in the past and he always turned it down. If he was still in charge during this TKO era, maybe things wouldn't be different. Maybe he would have succumbed to the pressure of trying to get all this money. But at least when Vince was in charge, we didn't have the advertisements on mat. We had stupid things like Red Hell in a Cells, but I'll take that over all of this advertisement. And again, that's just in-ring stuff. The advertisements on pay-per-views, and yes, I'm going to call it pay-per-views. I'm not going to use the three-letter acronym WWE tries to get over. It's always a pay-per-view. It's always going to be a pay-per-view for me. But during pay-per-views, you have a match, then you have 5 minutes of advertisement, then they send you down to the drumstick zone, they send you down to the general, all of this stuff, and it's 20 minutes before the next match. So I absolutely hate the advertisements. I think that's something pretty much every fan can agree on. Again, I understand they need to get their money, but some of it seems overboard. So advertisements is the number one thing I hate about current WWE. Number two, and I'm just going to title this or call this Breaking Kayfabe. And this has a lot to do with WWE Unreal. There is a lot I like about it. I do enjoy seeing the emotion and passion of wrestlers, especially when they hit a milestone moment, like when Punk main evented his WrestleManias, when Chelsea Green won her US Championship. And I'm certain they're going to use Chelsea Green's Women's Championship match as a part of the next Unreal. And honestly, they might have put the title on her simply for Unreal. A lot of people are talking about how, hey, it seems they're kind of booking for Unreal instead of their actual TV show, which is a shame. But I'm not a fan of always telling people wrestling's fake, always showing the inner workings. I just don't see the point in it. And then one of the bigger things that I did not like was during SummerSlam weekend when they announced how WWE was taking over that Sirius XM channel on the radio. Triple H went on before SummerSlam and he was talking about Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, and he was just talking about how Brock Lesnar absolutely loves Obafemi. He's always helping him backstage. He wants the best for him, blah, 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 all this type of stuff. And this happened before the Hell in a Cell match, where you have these two beasts who are supposed to be mad at each other. They want to hurt each other. They want to defeat each other and stuff like that. Not a fan of that. Triple H is the one who does this more than anyone. I just wish he wouldn't have done that one. I get if you want to share that after the Hell in a Cell match and after Brock has retired, because anyone watching kind of knew that, hey, Brock Lesnar has respect for Oba. He sees a lot of things in Oba. And then when Brock did his little promo after the end of Hell in a Cell, that was clearer than ever. So I wish he didn't do that. Again, Triple H is the one who likes to tell you the inside stuff of wrestling more than anyone, and I'm just not a fan of it. He also had a quote somewhat recently, and I'm kind of paraphrasing here, but he kind of got mad that he said he wished that fans would like direct their passion and emotion towards like heels if it's negative. But he's also the one, instead of creative, but he's also the one showing all of creative. So when fans see that, hey, all these pro wrestlers are just doing exactly what they're told, and when they don't like what's happening, they're not going to boo the heel when they see that he's doing what he's told. So the negative towards the creativity is kind of Triple H's fault, because he's the one who's showing all of this. So you can't kind of have it both ways, where you want to show all this inside stuff and then you get upset when fans are negative towards the creative. So just kind of all of that stuff in general. I wish some of pro wrestling stuff was kept more in secret than it is currently today. But that's not going to change. But that's number 2. Number 3 is celebrities. And I'm not going to spend a long time on this one. Celebrities have their place in professional wrestling. They always will be part of professional wrestling. Always have, always will. And I think there is a benefit to celebrities if they're used right. I personally think Lil Yachty is used pretty well with Trick Williams. But WWE loves using any type of celebrity. They just announced someone for Raw this week that I personally have never even heard of, and they made posts about it. And that might just be because I'm old. He's like a TikTok guy. No, I don't know him, but they use any celebrity with any type of name value they can, and I feel like they don't really put a lot of thought into it. They just like having the celebrity on television and in angles. Like the Jalen Brunson, Tyrese Halliburton stuff at the Garden. I understand the Knicks just won their championship and you're in MSG, but that segment was terrible, and it went after a great match between Gunther, Cody, Punk, and Sammy. And that took the main event spot. So celebrities were more important than your biggest angle. So I'm just not a fan of the celebrities. Again, I think there is a way to use celebrities that's entertaining and that's great for the WWE, but I think they kind of just overdo the celebrities and take anyone they can. So celebrities is number 3. Number 4, I'm just going to call this like the pacing. They kind of give you as little as they can, and the pacing is real bad. And I'm not just talking about like the advertisements on pay-per-views where you have 20 minutes before matches because they got to get their advertisements in. On Netflix, they have an advertisement, they do entrances, they go to a match, then 90 seconds later into the match, they're at commercial break again. So just a lot of that. But also the entrances. Everyone has a Undertaker length entrance these days, especially Roman Reigns, especially Seth Rollins. Entrances are way too long. Roman Reigns is the biggest culprit of this. He doesn't have like the special effects and I don't want to, I guess the aura that Undertaker entrance had. But his entrances go like 5 minutes every single time, and it just slows the show down. It becomes tiresome. So I'm not a fan of the pacing when it comes to entrances, advertisements, going from match to match, because there's always on pay-per-views like a 20-minute break between every match. And fans were really upset with this during WrestleMania when there was like 8-minute matches, then 20 minutes of commercials, then another 8-minute match, then another 20-minute commercial. So there's more commercial time and ad time than actual match time. So the pacing of shows, not a fan of. The last thing I am not a fan of current WWE is I would just say that a lot of it doesn't feel fresh or new. A lot of it's kind of boring, to be honest. There's not much newness going on. And I am a fan of most of the people in the main event scene. I'm a fan of Cody. I'm a fan of Punk. I'm a fan of Gunther, Roman, Seth. So these guys, I understand they're the top guys but it's getting tiresome. They've all been at the top for forever now, especially with the bloodline stuff. That's gone on forever. And when it was in its peak, it was probably the best pro wrestling since the Attitude Era. I absolutely love the peak of the bloodline. But since Paul Heyman left Roman Reigns, I haven't had too much interest in Roman Reigns. So I would just say another thing I don't like is how it just feels like everything's just repeating itself. There's no real freshness, and it's kind of boring at the time. So those are the 5 things I don't like. Let's jump to the things I do like to kind of try and finish on a positive note here. I will say it was much tougher to come up with things I like about current WWE than things I don't like. I hope that's just not because of me having a negative outlook on things. I just personally feel like there's not that much good going on in WWE currently. But let's try and finish positive. So the first thing I will say that I like about WWE is the new stars. I think Trick Williams is great. I think Obafemi is great. I think Braun Breaker is great. I love all of those guys, and I think all 3 of them are the future of the company. Oba is certainly going to be world champion real soon. I think it probably doesn't happen until WrestleMania, and he is going to be a main event level guy for the entirety of his career. Trick Williams, not a fan that they took the title off of him with Baron Corbin. I'm assuming that tonight Carmelo Hayes is going to win it back, and that's how they kind of get it to Trick and Melo. There were other ways to get to Trick and Melo than having Baron Corbin beat Trick Williams, but Trick Williams I'm a big fan of. He's fresh, he's new, he looks like a star, and I like him. And then Braun Breaker, of course, his rise to the top has been halted for various reasons, but also a big fan of him. So those 3 guys I really like. Then you have some other stars like Javon Evans. He's new, he's fresh, and I think they do have good stars that they can kind of build around who are younger, and kind of take away some of, I don't want to say the old guard, but kind of freshen up the new main event scene. The next thing I absolutely love about WWE currently is house shows. I think they're super important, and I went to a house show recently. And when I go to pro wrestling events, I love seeing little kids absolutely have the time of their life and make the most of it and enjoy their night as much as they can, because that's when I fell in love with pro wrestling when I was a little kid. I was at a house show recently, and there was this like probably 7 and 8 year old boy and girl in front of me, and they were having the time of their lives. The little girl was talking trash to everyone. She was telling the War Raiders or War Machine, whatever they're called. She was like, "You guys gotta lose weight." Ethan Page was complaining at the ref, and she was like, "You brought this upon yourself." So it's real cool to see kids enjoy pro wrestling and hopefully make lifelong fans of them, because I love pro wrestling, loved it since I was a kid, and hopefully they do as well. And I think house shows are important because they're much cheaper than pay-per-views and Monday Night Raws and SmackDowns, so you're able to get kids in more at a cheaper price for families. So I love that they're doing house shows again. I think they just announced more for December and like the holiday season and stuff. So I hope they keep doing that. And it's also a way to get some of your younger guys reps in front of a crowd. And I think that's important as well. Now is where it kind of got more tricky to come up with things I like. My next one is just going to be CM Punk. I love CM Punk. I think everything he does on professional wrestling television is entertaining. I think he has some of the best promos in pro wrestling today. I think he has entertaining matches, and I love everything CM Punk does on television. I know he's polarizing. I know he has probably the most split fan base among pro wrestlers today. But me personally, everything he does on television, I'm a fan of, and I really enjoy him. Again, I don't really think CM Punk needs a world title. I understand putting the world title on your top guys like Punk and Roman, but if Punk doesn't have a title, I'm still going to be interested in him. Some of the stuff he does on television might be more interesting than the main event scene. So CM Punk, I'm a big fan of. The next one is just going to be another wrestler, Gunther. I absolutely love Gunther. I think he might be the best pro wrestler today, and that might be controversial. A lot of people find him boring. I don't. I think he gets the most out of everyone. I enjoy almost every match he has. I think he has a good promo. I think he has a great look, and I just love everything Gunther does. I actually want him to be the person to beat CM Punk, because I think having a heel champion would be good. because a lot of the champions of recent time are kind of tweeners. And Gunther is a clear on TV, I'm supposed to be a heel, and I want him as world champion. And I know that kind of contradicts what I just said. Gunther's not that young. I think he's like 38. But give me Gunther as world champion soon. And the last thing I guess I can say I love about current WWE is just that they post their SmackDown clips onto YouTube almost immediately. That's pretty much the only way I really watch SmackDown. I rarely ever watch it live. I just kind of catch it on YouTube. So I love the fact that they're posting even Raw clips. I don't know if they post Raw as much on YouTube, because I usually check that out on Netflix. But I'm pretty sure they post YouTube clips of Raw, NXT, and SmackDown almost immediately, and that is the way I watch SmackDown. So I'm appreciative of that they're posting most of SmackDown on YouTube, so I can kind of catch what I want and not have to worry about the stuff I really don't care about, and not have to watch commercials. So love the fact that they post their stuff on YouTube. So that's it. Those are the things I hate, and then those are the things I love or like about current WWE. Again, the like was much tougher to come up with, and that's unfortunate, but that's kind of just the state of WWE for me personally as a fan at the moment. Let me know what you like about current WWE. Let me know what you hate about current WWE, and I will see you in the next one.